Matthew 5, verse 33 to 37. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus continues to unfold the true character of the righteousness required in the kingdom of heaven. Speaking to Israel under the law, he addresses the subject of oaths. Open quote. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from evil. Close quote. Jesus begins by referring to what had been taught in the law and among the people. The law of Moses did not forbid vows entirely. Rather, it required that vows made to the Lord be honored and not sworn falsely. Passages such as Leviticus 19, verse 12, and Numbers 30 emphasize truthfulness and the fulfillment of promises made before God. Yet, century, the religious leaders had constructed elaborate distinctions concerning oaths. Some oaths were considered binding, while others were treated as less serious depending on what was invoked. One might swear by heaven, by the earth, by Jerusalem, or by one's own head, attempting to avoid directly invoking the divine name while still creating an appearance of solemn truthfulness. Jesus cuts through these distinctions. He exposes the illusion that one could swear by something less than God. Heaven is his throne. The earth is his footstool. Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Even a man's own head is not truly his possession, for he cannot alter the color of a single hair apart from the sovereignty of God. Every oath ultimately touches what belongs to him. In this way, Jesus reveals the deeper issue beneath the practice of oath-making. The problem was not merely the words used in a vow, but the condition of the heart that required such vows in the first place. When truthfulness is absent, elaborate forms of swearing become a substitute for integrity. The Lord therefore calls for a simplicity of speech that reflects genuine righteousness. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Truth is not to depend upon ritual formulas. The speech of those who belong to God's kingdom is to be plain, direct, and honest. Within the broader context of the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is revealing the insufficiency of the righteousness practiced under the traditions of the scribes and Pharisees. Throughout this section, anger, lust, divorce, oaths, retaliation, and love for enemies, he brings the law to its fullest exposure. The law does not merely regulate outward conduct. It reaches into the intentions and truthfulness of the heart. For Israel living under the covenant given at Sinai, such standards revealed the depth of the divine requirement. The law was not merely concerned with external obedience, but with perfect righteousness before God. Yet even as Jesus speaks these words, the age of that covenant was approaching its consummation. The law that governed Israel, with its regulations, judgments, and covenant obligations, was moving toward its appointed fulfillment. The generation hearing Jesus would witness the climax of that covenantal age. In that unfolding transition, the righteousness revealed in Christ would stand apart from the system that depended upon human performance and religious formality. The kingdom he proclaimed would not rest on the careful management of vows or the outward appearance of devotion, but on a righteous grounded entirely in him. Within that reality, truth is no longer maintained through ritualized swearing. The life that flows from Christ produces a simplicity that does not require elaborate assurances. Speech becomes plain because the standing of the believer before God is not established by human promises, but by the finished work of the Son. Thus, Jesus exposes the weakness of a system that attempted to regulate truth through external forms. Oaths multiplied where sincerity diminished. But where righteousness is complete, such devices lose their purpose. For this reason, the Lord reduces speech to its most basic form: yes or no. Everything beyond that arises from the instability of human attempts to secure credibility through words. Matthew 5, 33 to 37 therefore stands as part of Jesus' larger revelation concerning the nature of true righteousness. The traditions surrounding the law had developed methods for managing behavior while leaving the deeper issue untouched. Jesus strips those methods away and points to a standard rooted in truth itself. In doing so, he prepares the way for a righteousness that would not be sustained by vows, regulations, or religious distinctions, but by the perfect faithfulness of the one who came to fulfill all that the law and the prophets anticipated.